Okay, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, students. So after a 2 days gap, we are meeting again for our class. So in the last class, we have started the unit 2, and we have discussing about the introduction about the physical layer, and we have started with in physical layer, we have discussed about the functions of physical layer. So in that, we are discussing about what is the data, what is the analog data, what is the digital data, what is the analog signal, what is the digital signal. Then what are the transmission impairments? So we have discussed the 3 types of transmission impairments. Can you name the 3 types of transmission impairments? So what you have discussed, you have told some answers for those things also. So what are the 3 transmission impairments? Any answers, students?
Distortion, noise,
Very good. Then one more. Distortion, noise, and
attenuation, sir.
very good, excellent. So attenuation. So these are the 3 impairments that you have discussed, and also we discussed about the performance. The performance in terms of throughput, then latency, and we also discussed about the problems. 4 problems that deals with the throughput, transmission time, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now we'll move on to the second part of the, that is second topic of the unit 2. So it deals with the switching. So what is a switching? What are the different types of switching? Mainly we concentrate on circuit switching and packet switching. So we will be discussing those topics for today's class. First we will discuss about the switching. So what do you mean by switching? So have you come across the terminology switching before? Probably you might have while discussing with the connecting devices, we discuss it with the switches. Okay, what do you mean by switching? Any answers, students? What is switching? Any answers? Adil? Yes, Nirmal? Any answers? What is called switching?
So connecting to various devices.
Okay, connecting two or more devices. Okay, so what actually the performance? What is the function of switching? Where we are using
So based on
connecting two
the sender
devices
and receiver address, it will switches to the network,
within
sir.
the LAN or within the WAN. So where we use the switches? Pardon? Come again? Come again? Okay, so switching is nothing but as he told, it is used to connect that devices, but this is only used with a layer 2. As we know that we discussed with the layer 1 devices and layer 2 devices, the switching is performed by the switches. We already discussed about the multi-point switches and single layer switches that we have discussed earlier when we discussed about the in unit 1. Okay, so point to point and multi-point devices, we concentrate on those things. Okay, so it is a normally for connecting devices within a network, as I told, you will be using the switches which perform the switching task. Switching means you are going to share the data from one device to another. It is going to switch from one place to other. The data is switched from one place to other. When we have whenever we have a multiple devices, we have the problem how to connect them to one to one. Okay, so in that case we make use some intermediate devices, one such intermediate devices is the switch. Okay, the switch is one such a intermediate devices. Okay, so if we want to connect to more than one devices, so in that case we will be using the switches. What are the other devices that can also be employed when you want to connect one or more devices? What are the other devices that exist if you want to connect one or more device? We already discussed it. What are the other devices, Pa?
Hubs.
Yes, Pa?
Sir, hubs.
Hubs, okay. Then hubs, then switches. Okay, hub, switches, then apart from other hubs and switches, don't we have other devices? The prime device that is essential for a WAN. What is the device that is required for WAN?
Routers, sir.
Exactly, router. Thank you, Nirmal. So router, okay. So these normally switches and routers, we normally go for the intermediate devices, which is used to connect the local LAN and WAN networks. Okay, we want to connect more than two devices. Normally, we have a intermediate devices. One such intermediate devices is a switch, and we have a routers also. So with this, we have a communication as a possible thing. See, in order to provide a solution for this, if we want to connect more than one, we'll go for the switching. A switch network consisting of series of interlinked nodes. So those series of interlinked nodes are called switches. Okay, so this is how we normally have the connectivity between the different nodes. So we'll be having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a different connectivity available here, and we have the switches available that can able to take the frames. Okay, so when you operate with a layer 2, you know that the information or the data will be in the form of frames. So by using a series of interlinked connections, okay, so we have, so this is the connectivity that exists. Okay, so this is the connectivity that exists. Okay, so you may have the one is connected with the 2 and 5. Similarly, 2 is connected with the 3 and 5, and 3 is connected with the 5, 4. Okay, so this is expanded and they are projected externally. Okay, so this is the switch they have given for this symbol. So this is the symbol and this is the component they normally represented. Okay, so we have the network which is interconnected with each other such that you can able to. So that is said to be a series of interconnected nodes. So here the nodes resembles here as to be a switches. Okay, so there are three methods of switching. So we can able to classify the switching under three categories. One is the circuit switching, second one is the packet switching, and third one is the message switching. Nowadays we least bother about the third category, that is the message switching. We commonly use the circuit switching and the packet switching. Again, further the packet switching is further classified into two types. One is the VCP approach will make use of this one circuit switching concept, and we have the second category as the datagram approach. Okay, second category is the datagram approach. So we'll be discussing one by one, starting from a circuit switching. So we have circuit switching, packet switching, and message switching. As I told, these two are we have commonly using, that is the circuit and the packet switching. Yeah, we normally commonly used it, and this one is not used nowadays. So the message switching is nothing but store and forward. Okay, so it is nothing but store and forward. Whatever the data you store, receive, you are going to store unless you find a particular path to a neighbor or to the destination. We keep storing the information. Then if you find the alternative path or a suitable path to the destination or to your neighbor, you will forward the data. So that is why the message switching is called a store and forward switching. Okay, so it requires more amount of a buffer. You require buffer to store the data. Okay, so that is why we are not preferring this message switching when compared with the circuit and the packet switching. Okay, but the third one has been phased out in general communication, but it still has its application. So we cannot say it has been completely eliminated from the communication scenario, but it finds some application on our in a rare case. Okay, in a rare case we have this application. So first one we'll discuss about the circuit switching. It consisting of a set of switches connected by a physical links. Okay, so we have a here one switch, here two, here three, then four. We have a four switches available. So those four are connected. As you know that you have interconnected links. Okay, so you have the four switches connected together. As you know, the switches can be further extended to connect based upon the number of ports available. So when you say with the switch you have ports, whenever you say a router, we have interfaces. Okay, with the interfaces, switches will be completed with the ports. Okay, you may have any number of ports with the switches, one link, and we have n channels available. So this is the concept. So this is the source node, which is A, and we have the destination node, that is M. So you have a connection that is established between A and M. So the path which is given in a red color, okay, the line that has been considered to be the path, and this path will be a dedicated path. Okay, so it consisting of set of switches connected by the physical links. This is the physical connectivity between the switches. The connection between the two stations is called a dedicated path with more than one links. As you know, you can see you can have more than one links available here. Okay, so and it is said to be a dedicated path. So dedicated path means the resources are shared only with that particular path. Okay, if it is a only point to point, the only the two source entities and the destination entity will share the resources. The rest of the resources won't be shared with the available interfaces, or you can say available users. Okay, each connection uses only a dedicated channel on each link. Okay, as I told, you have only a dedicated path available here. So each link is normally divided into n channels. Okay, so each links you will be having a n number of channels available. Okay, so you have a n number of channels based upon the port availability of the switches. So that make use of FDM, TDM, that is a frequency division multiplexing or a time division multiplexing. So when you say FDM or TDM, you should know the concept of a multiplexing. What is called multiplexing? What is called multiplexing? You might have discussed this one earlier in digital electronics classes. What is called multiplexing? You might have studied multiplexing and demultiplexing. What is multiplexing? Answer, students. What is multiplexing? So from the figure, you can get your answer. Okay, so what is a multiplexing?
Sir, n number of input is given and only one, we get only one output, sir.
Exactly. Okay, so you'll be having a number of input and you will be having only one output. Okay, so that is the multiplexer. So that will be operating with respect to time domain. Other one is with respect to frequency. So that's why it is called a frequency division multiplexing. Other one is the time division multiplexing. Okay, so you are going to multiplex your data, whatever you have. As you have here, you have three source input and you have only one output. Again, when you go for the other case, the reverse case, you have one will be converted into many. Okay, so that is the demultiplex. Okay, so each link is normally associated with the FDM or a TDM. So in the case of a circuit switching, so a circuit switch network is made up of set of switches. So you have switch 1, 2, 3, 4. It is made up of a set of switches connected by a physical link. So you have a link available. So those are physically connected. Okay, so in which each link is divided into n channel. So you have n number of channels available. So this is a definition for a circuit switching. So a circuit switching network is made up of a set of switches connected by a physical link, in which each link is divided into n channels. So that is the definition for your circuit switching. So you will be employed with more number of switches with a TDM or FDM concept. Okay, so circuit switching will be that normally the application in which you will be finding the circuit switching will be a telephone network. All your telephone network will find application with a circuit switching concept. Here the circuit switch network is connected to 8 telephone lines in a small geographical area. Here you have 4 and the output you have the 4. So totally you have 8 telephone networks within a small geographical area. It has been connected. So all the communication will be taken place through 4 kilohertz voice channel. So you know that audible frequency range 20 to 20. Okay, so 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So that is the audible frequency range. So the communication will take place with a 4 kilohertz voice communication channel. So each link uses the FDM to connect a maximum of a 2 voice channel. So we make use of the 2 voice channels for your communication link, and bandwidth of each link is 8 kilohertz. Okay, so telephone 1 is connected to telephone 7. So you can see the telephone 1 is connected to, you have telephone 7. So in that you will be having a switching here. So this type of switching will be taken care by the switch. Okay, so the 1 is connected to this one. This is the multiplexing. So again you will be multiplex output will be taken care with 0 to 8. That is the channel. Okay, so bandwidth of the channel. So it will be connected to this particular 7. Okay, so that is a path that exists, which is a physical path. Okay, see normally you will be having a 8 connectivity. So 1 will be connected to all the 4. Okay, so it has to be physically connected. Then only you can able to switch between 1 to this 4 output. Okay. Similarly, 2 to 5, 3 to 8, and 4 to 6. Okay, so this is how you have connected with your switches. So when you can see, and the 3 and 1 will be connected with this 7 and 8. Similarly, the 3 and 4, you can see the upper path. The 3 and 4 will be connected with this 5 and 6. Okay, so this is how you can able to change to any type of switching. Based upon the switch, you can able to connect to any dedicated path, or you can see any physical path. The situation may change when new connections are made. So whenever you have a new connection, okay, you may able to change that one with the existing switches. Okay, the switch controls the connection. So that is why we normally say the switches use change to any number of connectivity. So while when you establish a switching, we have 3 phases of a switching. Okay, so 3 phases in the sense the activity that is carried out in switching. Okay, the actual communication in circuit switching network requires 3 phases. You may expect this in 2 more questions. Okay, so you have 3 phases. One is the connection setup phase. That is with the connection setup. Once the physical connection is set up, we'll go for the data transfer. With the established path, we'll go for the data transfer. Okay, whether the slide is moving, students, whether the slide is moving, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so once the connection is established, we'll go for the data transfer from the source to the established path. We are not going to have all the established physical path. We will know who is the destination and who is the source. Between the source and the destination, we have a switches available. As you know, a switch is we don't have any lab classes. So Wednesday, if we have that lab, you might have seen that the exact function of switch, how it behaves. So when you compare with the hub and the switch, how intelligent the switch is. Okay, so it will learn by the connectivity. Okay, so if you have more number of paths, the switch will identify once it transfer the data to the destination, it will learn by itself, so that it can find an only a suitable path so that it can able to reach. It does not forward all the packet it receives to the neighboring nodes. That is, it does not broadcast. In a simple sense, if you say the switch does not broadcast, instead it will unicast your data to the particular destination to which your destination is connected among the physical path. Okay, so that is the data transfer phase. Once the data transfer is completed, we need to terminate the connection. You need not to waste the bandwidth. Once your data transfer is completed, you need to terminate. That's why you are going for the tear down phase. Okay, so this is all about the three phases we'll discuss here. Connection setup before two parties or the multiple parties communicate. That is before you start your data conversation, we have to set up a dedicated circuit. Okay, the combination of channels and a link. Okay, that is said to be a dedicated circuit that has to be established. The end systems are normally connected through these lines to the switches. Only with the help of the switches, we'll make use of the cables. Those cables are physical cables that will be connected with the switches with the help of the connectors. As you know that we cannot straight away connect the cables to the end devices or the intermediate devices. We need the connectors. With the suitable connectors, with the suitable cables and the suitable intermediate devices, we'll make a physical connectivity between the source and the destination. That is said to be the connection setup, creating a dedicated channel between the switches. Here the channel in the sense a physical path between your intermediate devices and the end devices through the cables and the connector. Okay, next one is the data transfer. After establishment of dedicated circuit, two parties can enter into the data transfer phase. You can able to transfer your data once a dedicated path has been established. The third case is the connection tear down. When once one of the party need to disconnect, a signal is sent to the switch to release the resources. Normally for dedicated path, your resources has to be occupied by the switch. Once the connection has to be established, okay, that is the data transfer is established, you need to end up the termination. Okay, end up your connection, established connection. So you have to ensure with all your data transfer is completed with the switch to end up the connectivity so that the resources will be released so that we'll come to the end of the session. So in the circuit switching, the resources need to be reserved during setup phase. Resource remain dedicated as long as you involve with the data transfer until you go into the tear down phase. Okay, so once you establish the connection, for establishing you need the resources. For data transfer you need the resources. For termination we wind up the resources. Okay, so this is how normally the three phases will take place in a switching, particularly in a circuit switching. So then efficiency. So the circuit switch networks are not efficient as the other two type of networks. Since we are using a dedicated bandwidth, even when you are transferring data or not, once the connection is established, that resources are allocated. Even if you are not transferring any data until you terminate, the resources allocated is allocated. Okay, so the resources are allocated during the entire duration of the connection. The resources are unavailable to the other connection. As we have only a dedicated connectivity, the resources will not be available for the other parties or the other nodes. In a telephone network, the people normally terminate the connection when they have finished the conversation. Once your voice conversation is over, you will disconnect the call. That is said to be a tear down phase, or you can say end up, or you are ending the connectivity. Okay, tear down is also called disconnecting the call. Okay, that is happens in a telephone network. The next one will be there. After efficiency, we have the delay. So the circuit switch networks are normally have low efficiency when compared with the other two. The delay in this type of network is minimal. As you have fixed path, you need not to find a new path. Okay, for connection establishment, we have a fixed path. So you have a delay is a minimal. So during the data transfer, data is not delayed at each switch. Since we have a dedicated connection, the delay is very minimal here. The resources are allocated for the duration of the connection. Okay, so for entire duration until it gets over by termination by the two parties, either it is a sending or receiving party, you have the resources allocated for the entire connection. So the idea of the delay in the switches network is only when two switches are involved. Okay, only when you have two switches involved, you will have this circuit switched network. Okay, here you have a switch A, then switch B. So we have the intermediate switches or the devices, or you can say nodes available. So this is the time that normally you takes for the connection establishment, and this is the time that you take for the data transfer, and this is the time that you takes for the connection end up. That is called tear down, or you can say disconnect. So at the start, at the end, that is what you take. Here also you take the total delay. So when you take the total delay, that is connection establishment plus data transfer plus termination, all put together will consolidated as a delay involved in the circuit switching network. The second one, we'll move on to the second category, that is the packet switching network. So in a packet switching network, we need to send a message from one end system to the other. Here also we'll make use of the end nodes, but we have a different format. We don't establish any physical connectivity. If you establish physical connectivity, we follow some default guidelines. Okay, so the message is going to pass through a packet switching network. When we make use of the packet switching network for your data transfer, it needs to be divided into packets of variable or a fixed size. You cannot transmit your data. Since we involved with the packet switching, the concept of packet switching or the principle behind the packet switching is, if the packet is beyond a particular size, you are going to divide into smaller units. The lengthier packets will be divided into smaller packets, and you are going to send the packet one by one. So this is the concept of a packet switching. Okay, for each data transmission, you may have a different in a data transmission rate. It is not fixed, it will be variable in nature. The variability normally will be referred here as a burst size, or you can say burst nature. You are going to divide the packet into fixed or a variable size, that is the burst nature. The size of the packet is determined by the network and its governing protocol. So what is the type of the protocol that you use? Okay, based upon the type of the protocol and the packet that is given as the input to the network. So based on that, you will be dividing the packet into the network. Okay, so you can again classify the packet switching into two categories. One is the virtual circuit approach and datagram approach. As you can see that, even though it is a packet switching network, we have a circuit switching concept that comes into this packet switching. That is why it is called VC. That is called virtual circuit switching. The virtual circuit switching uses some concept of the circuit switching. Okay, the second category is the datagram approach. It is the other form of the virtual circuit. So in packet switching network, there is no resource reservation. We are not going to reserve the resource in advance. We don't have any dedicated path here. The resources are allocated on demand. What do you mean by on demand? What is called on demand? Students, answer. What is called on demand? What is said to be on demand? Okay, exactly. Only when there is a need, the resource will be allocated. Otherwise, it won't be allocated. Okay. So that is why the packet switching comes into picture for networks. So first we'll discuss about the datagram networks. So in that, each packet is treated independently of all other. You may know, as I told earlier, if we have a packet of a larger in size, we need to divide the packet into smaller ones. So when you say I am dividing the data into or a packet in smaller one, I need to identify each and every packet. Otherwise, I don't know how to join the divided packets at the receiving end. Okay, so that's why I need to put a number that is called sequence number, or you can say identifier packet number. So yeah, a packet will be identified by its number 1, 2, 3, 4. So like this, I need to divide a larger packet into a smaller ones. Okay, so that is the case. So each packet is treated independently of all others. So each packet, for each transmission, it will be considered as an individual. Even though we are going to club all together and to join at the receiving end, while transmitting, it has to be considered independent of each other. The packet is a part of a multi-packet transmission. The network treat as a existed one. Okay, so it will be treated individually. So the packet in this approach are referred to as whatever the packet that you transfer is said to be datagram. Okay, so when you transfer individually, it is said to be a datagram. Here you can see each packet may take say any one of the part. First, the packet when you divide, first one that is leaving from the source or entering into the network, that is said to be a one packet one. So it may take this path. Okay, the second packet it may take this path. The third one again it may take this path. Fourth one again it may take an alternate path. So you cannot, whereas in the case of circuit switching, you have only one path. That path is dedicated in which you can able to reach the sender to the receiver through the intermediate devices. But in this case of datagram approach, we may not able to predict the path in which your router or you can say a switch that it takes. Okay, it may take any path that is available at the time in which you are involved with the data transfer. Okay, so that is why you have a different path available. Okay, so you may take any path to reach your destination. So at the destination, you can see it is not in order. So when you transmit your data, it is in order 1, 2, 3, and 4. When you check at the receiving end, it is not at the order. So you should have a suitable protocol such that after receiving your data, it has to order your data packets that have been received, or you can say datagrams. Okay. So you need to order, then only it gives some useful information. So the datagrams networks are sometimes referred to as a connectionless network. Since we use a packet switching network, it is called a connectionless network. So connectionless means a switch, or you can say a packet switch, that does not give information about the connection state. The connection state in the sense, who are all my neighbors? Okay, so how I can able to reach the neighboring node, or how I can able to reach the destination node, that is said to be a connection information. So whereas in the case of virtual circuit approach, it has a physical connectivity between the source node and destination node and all your neighbors. Okay, so here you don't have, all the nodes does not maintain the physical connectivity for the destination nodes. Okay, only when there is a demand to transfer your data, during that time only you will be having the connection path, or you can say your neighboring information. Here there are no setup or no tear down phases. As in the case of circuit switching, you have three phases. First one is the connection setup, or you can say establishment. Second one is the data transfer. Third one is the tear down phase. Whereas in the case of datagram approach, you don't have any setup or the tear down phases. You have only the data transfer phase. So only when there is a data available, you will be transferring. Only that time you will allocate treated same by a switch regardless of its source or destination. Whether you are going to transfer to a data to a source node or a destination node, it doesn't matter. It consider each packet as a information that is given as an input. It has to forward to its neighbor. That's all. Okay, you can see here. So this is the port. Okay, so the port may have entry point 1, 2, 3 may be exit point, or it may be also entry point. For our case, we take 1 as the entry point and 4 as the exit point. Okay. So when you take a switch, it has, as I told, the switch will be represented by the or terminology called port, whereas the router will be acknowledged or terminal or referred by a terminology called interface. Okay. So the port will have a port address. For example, this port will have a port address as, okay, so this is the output port and they are referring, and so these are the ports that they are referring. So in that you need to configure which one is the input port and which one is the output port. So here they will be referring with a destination address. Okay, so for each and every cases we may have a different destination address. For example, for 3, so for example this is a 3, you have 3 addresses 9130. For example 2, the 2 may have the addresses 4150. For 1 we have 1232 as the address. Okay, so this is the case. Okay, normally we referred with the address. Okay, So this is the table that normally maintained at each switches. Okay, each switches are the packet switch has a routing table. So based upon the destination address. So based upon the destination address, we will be having this table. The routing tables are dynamic and are updated periodically. So based upon the configuring, as I told, these four, you have 4 ports available. Among the 4 ports, you may configure 3 as the input port and 1 as the output port, or you may configure 1 as the input port and 3 as the output port. So how you configure the switch? Okay, so based upon that, you will be having this routing table. So the routing tables are dynamic. So dynamic means you keep on updating periodically. Okay, the destination address and corresponding forwarding output ports are recorded in the table. So each switch will maintain a table. The table contains these two information. One is the port address, other one is the destination address. Okay, the switch is a datagram network, uses a routing table that is based upon the destination address. That is what I was explaining now. The destination address packet in a datagram network remains same during the entire journey of the network. Okay, so the destination address, okay, the destination address remains same throughout the journey from the source to the destination. So that is what we are insisting here. Then we'll discuss about the efficiency. The efficiency of datagram network is better when compared with circuit switching. So compared with circuit switching, because when you say efficiency, we deal with the scarce resources. When you deal with the scarce resources, we say bandwidth and the NI when you operate with the wireless devices. Here, the resources represents the bandwidth. We allocate bandwidth. In the case of circuit switching, a dedicated bandwidth will be allocated whether you are involved with the data transfer or not. But in the case of packet switching, only when there is a demand, we go with is better when compared with a circuit switching network. Here the resources are allocated only when the packets are there to be transferred. Only if you possess the packet, you will be allocating the resources. The rest of the time, the resource will not be allocated. It will be available. The source sends a packet and there is a delay of few minutes before another packet can be sent. The resources are reallocated. Okay, so that is the case here. If you send the packet and we find the delay, then the resources has to be reallocated. So during these minutes, other packets from the sources. Okay, during that time, if any packet is readily available, it will be transmitted. Then for delay, so you will have a greater delay in the data. Intermediate nodes. Okay, so you will have some sufficient amount of delay available. Here also there is no setup or teardown phases. Each packet will maintain a wait at the switch before it has been forwarded. For each case, when it forwards, it finds some sufficient amount of delay involved. All the packets in a message need not to travel to same switches. As you see in the diagram, each package may follow different path. Okay, it doesn't mean that each one should follow a fixed path. Here you don't have any fixed path. As of now, we have any path available. The switch takes the particular path to reach the destination. So during that time, it may be a shorter path or it may be a longer path. At the destination, definitely you will receive the packet out of order. So you need to group those packets and you have to put in order with suitable protocol. So the packet travel through the two switches you have. So with this, it will be forwarding 3 transmission time. So here 1, here 2, then here 3. So you have 3 transmission time, 3 propagation delay. So for all the 3 cases, you have the propagation delay and 2 waiting times. It has to wait in the 1 and it has to wait in the 2. That is the waiting time. It will be represented as W1 and W2. The third one, you are going to ignore the processing time in each switch. So sometimes the processing time will be of a very minimum, so we can able to ignore those processing time. The total delay will be the delay of 3t plus 3 tau plus 2 waiting time. 3 tau represents your 3 propagation time. Okay, so the propagation time and the waiting time along with the transmission time will gives you the total delay. The third one the sense in packet switching we have two types. One is the datagram approach, other one is the virtual circuit approach. We will be discussing now the second category of a packet switching, that is the virtual circuit approach. So it is a cross between a circuit switching network. From the name itself you can see virtual. Okay, we have a virtual circuit. The path will be have a dedicated path here. So it is a combination of, or you can say a mixture of circuit switching concept and the packet switching concept. It has the characteristics of both. Okay, so there are setup and a tear down phase. Okay, as you know, in packet switching you don't have a tear down and a setup phase, but in the case of virtual circuit, even though it is one of the classifications of a circuit switch, packet switching, here we have the concept that is taken from the circuit switching. That's why we have the circuit switched under the setup phase and the tear down phase along with the data transfer phase. The resources can be allocated during the setup phase as like the circuit switching. As like the circuit switching, here you have the resources that is pre-allocated or pre-occupied or on demand in the datagram approach. Okay, since it infer both the circuit switching and packet switching, you can go with the pre-allocation or on demand. So both the case is possible. All the packets follow the same path established during the connection. Okay, as like the circuit switching, we have a dedicated path available here. The virtual circuit, the data are packetized here. So here, even though we are going to transfer the data, since we are in a packet switching, whatever the data that you transfer, it has to be converted into packets. So that's why they are saying that the data are packetized and each packet carries the address in the header. So each packet will have the address in the header layer. The circuit switch is implemented in the physical layer. So we have physical part. It is implemented in a physical layer. Just a minute. Okay, so the virtual circuit will be implemented in the data link layer as we involved with the packets, and circuit switch will be involved with the physical layer. You don't have any packets there, we will be sending the data as it is. And the datagram network will be operating in a network layer. Okay, you can see here. You have a circuit that is a user, end user with A and your destination user with B. We have the switches available. As you know that in a virtual circuit switching concept, you have a dedicated path. So these are the dedicated path available. You may choose one among the dedicated path available for transferring your data, but whatever the data that you transfer, that the transfer data will be converted into smaller packets. Okay, so that is the concept of this virtual circuit approach. Here it will be make use of the addressing that will be represented with VC, that is called virtual circuit identifier, or it will be represented as a VCI. Okay, here I represents the identifier. Whatever the packet you transfer, it has to be identified with a identifier. That's why they are given as a VCI. Here there are two types of addressing involved. One is the global addressing, other one is the local addressing. First we will discuss about the global addressing. The source or the destination need to have a global address. So can anyone tell me what do you mean by global address and local address? Students, what is a global address and what is a local address? Any answers? Students?
Sir, MAC and IP
I need some
address.
answers. Yes. Yes, come again. What is a global address?
Global address MAC, sir.
Pardon? Yes, come again, Pa. A global address
MAC
is the
address.
address. Yes, exactly. MAC address will be a global address that is unique for all the devices. Whereas your IP address is nothing but your local address. It will be keep on changing when you change your network position. At a particular time of, as I told the example, when you are residing in a CCE, you have an ID card for your UG. When you go for PG, some other college, you may have some other ID card. So you will be keep on changing. So that is said to be a global addressing. The source or destination needs to have a global address in the case of the virtual circuit approach, and the global address in a virtual circuit network used to create a virtual circuit identifier. So these virtual global addressing will have this VCI, virtual circuit identifier. The identifier used for data transfer is called a virtual circuit identifier. So this is an identifier that is normally used to data transfer. It is an identifier used to identify a data transfer. The global address is nothing but a small number with a scope. Okay, it is also have some scope. Okay, so with certain geographical area. So it is used by the frame between two switches, or when a frame arrives at a switches, it has a VCI. So when it arrives at this particular switch, it has a VCI. When it leaves, it has a different VCI. Okay, so when it leaves, it has one geographical area. So within the geographical area, VCI identifier. So we need to identify each and individual virtual circuit. So a VCI does not need to be a larger number. Okay, you should not have the VCI to be a larger number. Each switch can use its own unique set of VCI. So a switch will allocate this VCI. Will have its own VCI. Okay. So this is the case. So as I told, whatever the data you transfer, it has to be converted into a packet. So when you transmit your packet, you will add with the VCI. So this is the VCI which gets added along with your packet. So when you are entering into the switch, you have a VCI as 14. When you are leaving the switch, we have the VCI at 77. Okay, so the 77 may be the node or the address pointing to the next switch. So here also in a virtual circuit, you have three phases available. In the packet switching, that too in datagram, you don't have the three phases. So you have only one, that is data transfer. But in this case, we have three phases. Kindly remind me, I'll keep on taking. If you forget to remind me, otherwise I'll keep on taking. Okay. So in the circuit switching network, the source and destination has to need to go with the three phases. That too only for the virtual circuit approach. Okay. So you know what is data setup phase, data transfer phase, and teardown phase. We already discussed these things earlier. So first we will concentrate more on the data transfer phase, as I told. So this is the switch. As you know, the switch has more ports. This is the port. Based upon the configuring or the configuration of the switch, you may configure as an input port or an output port. You can see this is configured as an input port, and other two, the 2 and 3 are configured as an output port. So whenever you entering, you may have a different VCI. Okay. So when you enter, you have a different VCI. That is what the table insists. So this is incoming. When you have at a port 1, you have two packets. One packet is having a VCI as 14, and other packet is having a VCI as a 77. But after the switch, it doesn't mean that it has to follow the same path. It may take any different path. So when the 14 may converted as a, here you can see the 14 in the incoming path is converted as a 22. It takes the port 3. Likewise, the 77 in a port 1 takes up port 2, but with a different VCI as a 41. So this is how normally takes a different VCI from the source to reach the destination. Okay, so this is what given in the theory here. To transfer a frame from source to destination, all switches need to have a table entry. So this is said to be a table entry that is available with all switches. A table has 4 columns. So when we discussing with the lab, we will have an entry that is available with each switches. So when you there is a command in a packet tracer, show address that will gives you the MAC address that have been available with the particular switches. Okay, to which it is connected directly. Okay, so we'll discuss those things in lab. So here we have 4 columns available. So incoming you have 2 columns, outgoing you have 2 columns. One is with relevant to the port, another one with relevant to the VCI. The switch hold 4 pieces of information for each virtual circuit. The switches make their table entries. So whatever that comes inside, they will make entry in the table through that particular port. If 2 packets come through the port 1, so through port 1 with different VCIs, it will make an entry over here. When it goes out, if some packets comes again, it will change this entry. So that is why we say that a periodic entry in the routing table or updates in the routing table. Each switch has a table with entries of all active virtual connections. Okay, all the active virtual connections will be available here. The frame arriving at port 1 with VCF 14. And when it took the table, okay, you can see you have 14 here. When it's found, it switch moving the VCI to 22. Okay, when it's moving out, it will be changing the VCI until forward to the next switches. This is how normally the operation table is in a switch. To in a virtual circuit. So, am I running out of time? It seems it's time. Am I right, students? Nirmal?
Yes, sir.
Nirmal, are we running out of time? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll stop. You stop with here with the data transfer phase here. So after that, we have 2 or 3 slides. Then we have an activity. So this we'll be discussing those requests and acknowledgement in the next class. Okay. So I already told in the last class we have I have given an assignment on unit 2. So if we have a class by this week or in some other theory class, I will convert into the practical lab class so that you will be familiar with the concept about the packet tracer, so that it will be easy for you to work it on. Okay. So that's all for now. So we'll stop here with the data transfer phase. So far in this class we discussed about the switching, different types of switching, what is the circuit switching, then what is the packet switching, and what are the different types of packet switching. One is the virtual circuit approach, other one is the datagram approach. And what is the datagram approach, how the information will be converted into packets, how it takes the different path, how the resources are allocated, and what are the 3 different phases available. So that's what we have discussed for the class today. So with this, we stop here and we will discuss about the data transfer phase of the virtual circuit approach in the next class. Okay. Dinesh Kumar, I hope both Dinesh Kumars are available. Dinesh, both M. Dinesh Kumar are available today?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Dinesh. Okay.
Thank you,
So that's all for the class for today. So we'll meet in the next class, students. Thank you.